Okay, we're often asked, what is a cooperative? And I think the easiest way to understand this is if we look at what is the globally agreed definition of a cooperative and then unpick it and see what lies behind it. That statement on cooperative identity talks about an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet common economic, social or cultural needs through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. I think it's fair to say some sentence. But if you unpick it, you start understanding the distinct characteristics of a cooperative. First of all, it's an autonomous association of persons. It's independent of government, it's independent of the big banks, it's an independent organisation. It's a voluntary association of persons. It's about people that have come together voluntarily, not by coercion. And it's there to meet common needs. And the way it does that meets those needs, whether that's social, cultural or economic needs, is through this jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. So in a way, there's two parts to a cooperative. One is a social entity, a group of people coming together to meet common needs. But the second one is it's a business. The way it meets those needs is through an enterprise. You can look at some of these aspects better if you unpick it further and look at the values that lie behind cooperatives and the principles that govern them. There's 6 key cooperative values and 7 principles, together with a series of ethical values. Let's just look first of all at the values that we say define cooperatives and then the ethical values and principles. The cooperative values are self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity and solidarity. And let's look at those first of all to see how they combine to give cooperatives their very distinct characteristics. Self-help is about what we can achieve by working together. That I can't achieve my objectives without working with you and you achieving your objectives as well. It's a really unique characteristic that can best be described as a win-win situation. Self-responsibility is about saying that we're not going to wait for government to change things. We're not going to wait for some benefactor to do things. We're going to actually take control of our own lives, our own destiny, and get on with it, doing it ourselves. And democracy, therefore, becomes absolutely critical to how this group of people that have identified some needs that by working together they can meet are going to operate. They're going to operate democratically. And the principle of one member, one vote is absolutely paramount. That ties in with equality. And from the very beginning, cooperatives were committed to equality, irrespective of race, irrespective of political creed, irrespective of gender, having women as members of cooperatives 80, 90 years before they got the vote in the UK. Equity is all about fairness. Fairness in particular in the financial transactions with the co-op. A really good example of this is how early co-ops introduced what became known as the dividend. The dividend rewarded people in proportion with what they spent with the co-op, rather than rewarding them based on how big their shareholding is. And then there's the value of solidarity. This is really interesting for cooperatives because they're a very different kind of business. The pioneers of cooperation didn't want to simply expand their business and grow bigger and bigger and bigger. They wanted to share the idea. So what they did, instead of going out and setting up more branches and building the size of their own business beyond the communities they were serving, they sent out people to help people to set up cooperatives and build a whole cooperative movement, first of all in the UK, then very quickly internationally, as other people received that message. Those cooperative values combine to give them their distinct characteristics. And they're backed up by a series of ethical values which we say were really important because in many ways they're a response to the abuses of the private traders at the time that led to the creation of cooperatives. So honesty, they're honest in their dealings, they're open and transparent, they have social responsibility that they demonstrate in their actions, and they have concern for the community as well. So these, we say, could be shared by many other organisations, but they're very, very important for cooperative businesses.